Happy Mobility and Fall Prevention Day, everyone. As you can see, I'm outside. It's such a beautiful day. I figured let's have an audience. So if any of these geese start acting up, try to stay on task and attention. I saw a beautiful blue heron a second ago, so that might make an appearance too. But let's get started. We want to make sure we have some weights today, equal weights. And I'm going to be a dark silhouette. Hopefully you don't mind that. But I figure you can enjoy the lake behind me. So we want water, we want some weights. We're going to start off marching. We're going to get our opposite elbow towards that knee. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. I don't mind being a silhouette. I'm a big fan of Batman, as I think you all know. You probably took that class, hopefully. So, silhouettes are dark and mysterious. Keep it up. Opposite elbow towards that knee. Working on getting the brain and that body ready for some movement. We can also do this seated down if we want to. Working the core a little bit. A little more hip flexor action. Whichever we're feeling. Hopefully we've been able to get outside, enjoy the weather, the sunshine. We've passed the autumnal equinox, so getting vitamin D is harder and harder, so let's take advantage of it. Next up, let's get our reverse lunge with that twist going. So we're going to have one hand on here, and it's that leg that goes backwards. So let's step back with that right leg. Right hand stays on the chair. We're opening up to the side. We're turning to standing and switching sides. Back and forth. Coming back nice and tall. Side to side. Maybe we have some bird watchers. Y'all can let me know what sounds you hear. You want to keep that front knee bent. Opening up to the side, then returning to standing. Back and forth here. Feeling great. Really feel that spine opening up. Maybe a little stretch down in our low back and our hips as well. 8 seconds left. Keep it going. Awesome. Good job. So now's a good time if we have a band to sit down, get that band at our ankles, at our knees. We're going to start off with our zigzags, which this will get behind that chair. We want to bring our hips backward, keeping that chest lifted. And we're going to sidestep, going from one side to the other, back and forth. If we have a band, we want to keep tension on that band, not letting our feet come too close, such that we lose that tension. That's a big focus. Good, about 30 more seconds. Keep it up. See a procession of ducks in the distance. We'll see if they make an appearance in a little bit. That could be fun. Or there might be baby geese actually. 15 seconds. Eight more. I don't know about y'all, but I absolutely love geese. They poop everywhere. You can probably tell that's sarcasm. Let's take a break. So we're going to get our zigzags going, which we have that same hip back motion. Then we're going to go in and out at a 45-degree angle. We're working on our dance moves here. That's the big focus. So hips are back. We're going to step forward, in and out, in and out. I'll face you all in a moment. Get in and out. back and forth. Good. So keep it going. We'll have in and out. About 28 seconds. So same thing, if we have the band, we're not combing so far that we lose that tension, but enough to work it. 10 more seconds. 2 more seconds, almost through. And time. Good job. Let's check in with our balance today. We're going to work that tree pose. So having our hand on the chair, the hand closest to it is, or the leg closest to it is grounded. We're going to bring our toe to the ground. Maybe that heel is touching. Maybe it's higher. I'm going to keep mine down today. And finding that balance. We have one hand on the chair, the other hand in the center. And looks like we're about to have a party. We got different goose clans getting together. Finding that balance. If we want to, we can bring both hands to our heart center. We can lift our arms up to the sky. Look straight ahead. Maybe we're feeling daring. Maybe we're going to look up as well. Keeping those shoulders down and away from our ears. Working those stabilizing muscles. And we made it. Good job. Let's switch. So switching to the other side. Starting off with that hand. Getting that toe, that heel grounded. And beginning. Always welcome to up the ante a little bit. Lifting those arms if we so desire. Rest in the trough of our breath, just like waves. If we fall out of it, totally okay. Let's work our way down. Awesome. So getting a sip of water. We're going to start off with some lower body work today. Looks like those geese didn't want to be a part of this video. That's okay. So we're going to start off with some split squats, some lateral lunges, and then we're going to add in a hip hinge, working on a double leg deadlift. So with the split squat, we want to have our feet about shoulder width apart, then we're going to slide one leg back. The more narrow our legs are, much more challenging this is. So start off wide and try to keep that width. It's natural for it to come in a little bit. We're going to be nice and tall. We do have options of weights here. I'm going to start off with first set, no weight, but we can always upgrade. So we're going to inhale, lowering, bending that knee as much or as little as we want. Exhaling, coming up. You can use that chair for balance and support. We can work on going as slow as we want, especially on the way down. Then faster on the way up. Choosing which feels most comfortable to you. With these single leg eccentrics, this lowering is a really great way to build strength without having too much resistance at our disposal. So we don't have heavy weights. It's a really good way to, one, get that heart rate pumping, and two, to build that strength even more. Have 5 seconds left. We're almost done. Good job. job. Let's switch sides now. That same premise. We have our feet nice and wide, sliding one leg back. We're inhaling, lowering down. We're exhaling, coming back up. Now the depth at which we drop down really depends on each individual. If we have knee pain, discomfort, maybe our quads aren't as strong as we want them to, and this could be bothersome on the way down. Same thing if we have any patellar tendon issues, but working within our comfort zone, just pushing it just a notch, and before we know it, that comfort zone will be expanded. So again, we're inhaling on the way down, and we're exhaling on the way up. Last 2 seconds. Good job. Now, we're going to get into our lateral lunge. And we're going to do it 2 ways. So the first option is we can hold on to our chair. Imagine the chair is right here. And our legs wide. We go from side to the standing to the other side. We want to make sure we have our hips back when we do this, as opposed to our knees coming very far forward. The knees will come forward, but knees over toes, not too much farther. We can do that, or we can step out to the side, returning to standing, step out to the other side, returning to standing. First set, I'm going to do the straddle from side to side behind that chair. So, feet are wide, nice and tall, and going back and forth. So, hips are back. If I look down, my knee is over my foot, coming back to standing. Hips back, knee again over that foot, coming up, side to side. We're exhaling up, inhaling, back down. Good, keep it up. We have that chair if we need it. Keep it going, 22 seconds. Side to side action. Back and forth, almost there. Awesome, great job. Now, we're going to practice that hip hinge. So when we think about a hip hinge, it's very different from a squat. A squat is me sitting down towards the ground, whereas a hip hinge is bringing our hips back and forward. Notice how head, middle back, low back are all in line. I didn't bring a dowel, but if we have a dowel, that's a really good way to check in, where I'm bringing my hips back so I feel a stretch in my hamstrings. Notice how I'm not rounding my back. That's a big, big focus. My hips come back and they come forward. We're going to practice that for a minute, and on that second round, we have the option to have weights. If you're familiar with this, you are welcome to add weights. Hips are back and forward. So big difference here. Remember, a squat is hips come down, whereas a hip hinge, hips are back and forward. Let's get into that position. So we got a minute of keeping that chest lifted. Bring our hips back so we feel that hamstring stretch. Ready, set, go. So hips are coming back and forward. Got back and forward. As simple as it is, it's pretty tough. So focus on keeping our shoulders in line and back. We're not rounding. We're not bringing that chest forward. We're keeping it back. And we can think about our hands too. Let's keep them attached. Let's have them on our thighs. Then bringing our hips back. Our hands are going to go maybe to our knees. And that's it. Let's shrug our shoulders down. Those armpits towards our hips. As we continue going back and forward. And we got back and forward. Awesome. Good job. So let's get one more time through on that lower body. So we talked about having the option for weight on our split squats. We can do two different ways. We can have weight down by our sides. Let's say we're ready for some weight, but not two. Having it on the side of that leg in the back is the way to go if we only do one. We can have it down by our side, or we can even have it racked. I'm going to do racked today. So we're going to bring our leg back. We still have the option if we're racked or we have it down to use that chair. Remember, it's a prop, which is an extension of our body. Use it as much as you desire. So nice and tall. We're bending that knee as much or as little as we want. Coming back up. Think about nice and slow on the way down. Exhaling up strong on the way up. Great job. These split squats help us work one side at a time, where if we have one side that's a little stronger, it won't take over, preventing that weaker side to get better. Keep up the good work. I know you all are putting in that great effort. Almost through. Last one. And coming back up. Nice. Way to go. Let's switch sides now. Having our feet, again, about shoulder width apart. We're sliding that leg in the back. Choosing to have that hand down, racked. Maybe we have both hands with weight. Whichever. Nice and tall. Here we go. Inhaling, descending, exhaling up. Doing great. Keep up that good work. So remember, we choose the depth. This is hard. We're not going as low. We're able to scale this to our personal preference. Almost through. Got 6 seconds. Awesome job. Taking a breather. We're going to get our lateral lunges in again. So if we feel comfortable, that wide straddle going from side to side, we're welcome to stick with that. If we're feeling we want to get a little gentle plyometric in, we can go from side to side. So I recommend using that chair if we want to do that plyometric version. So we start with our feet together, or in the wide straddle. The movement is the same. 3, 2, 1. Out to the side, hands are back. Coming back to standing, other side. You've noticed how I have my arms out. That's just counterbalancing my hips. We are welcome to hold on to some weight if we want. And we can use that chair as well if need be. "20 seconds. Nice. Give that good work. Last 10. great job. So we're going to do that hip hinge again, which you may be wondering, this is kind of easy. Why are we doing this? This is more of an education piece about our single leg deadlifts and if we're going to pick something up off of the ground. So you want to be moving, again, from your hips. You go as far as you can. Then you'll bend the knees a little bit. Now, you may say, hey, that's kind of like a squat. But again, our first movement is our hips going back. They'll drop a little, which is very different from our squat, which is going down and coming back up. A lot of us living in modern times in America and other developed Western countries, we lose that ability to squat, where we can only go to about 90 degrees with our squat, and that's because we sit 90 degrees in chairs. Our hips get tight, our ankles get tight. So let's start re-educating that mind-muscle connection, our hip hinge, showing the difference between the two. So we do have the option for weight here, and I'm going to show you another hip hinge. We won't do it, but we've done this before with our chair, where I'm hinging, my hips coming back as my torso comes forward. So it's the same thing there, but it's just on one leg. So we're nice and tall, and here we go. We've got our hips coming back and forward. Hips coming back, we feel those hamstrings stretching, and forward. Now if we want to go a little bit lower, we can bend our knees a little bit, and let's think about bringing our hips forward. So hips come back, bending our knees a little bit to reach lower, and then standing up tall as our hips come forward. Inhaling, coming back. Exhaling, forward. Keep up the good work. Inhaling back. Exhaling, forward. Almost through. Last little bit. Great job. Well done. So, taking a breather, we're going to switch to our upper body next, which we're going to start off with a single leg stance, a bicep curl into an overhead press. So, feel free to get some of that water before we transition. And got a tiny little inchworm right here. It's cool. So we're going to, let's start with our left leg up on the chair, where we can hold on to that chair with our left hand if we need to. We want to be nice and tall, and with our right hand, we got a bicep curl going, keeping that shoulder packed down towards our hips. We're going to press up to the sky, bending that elbow, lowering back down. That's good. So 2 different motions here. Let's get it going. So we're actively lifting that hand, that elbow's bent, that bicep. We're pressing it up to the sky, lowering back down. Then we're actively lowering as we straighten that elbow, not letting gravity do the work. We're fighting gravity this whole time. Nice and engaged. And if this is a little much, standing on one leg, feel free to do this either seated or standing. Doing great. Slow and controlled with good technique. Give me bend, flexing into that bicep curl. Pressing up overhead, packing the shoulder down, lowering, straightening that elbow. Nice. Let's switch sides. So getting those biceps, getting those shoulders, working on that balance. Nice and tall. We're going to exhale, bending that elbow, keeping that shoulder down as we press up to the sky. Lowering back down. Straightening that bent elbow. Resting up. Now let's say we've got some shoulder issues. Maybe we're only going to go bicep, back down, and then scaption. If we have limited range of motion, usually shoulder height with the lift helps us work those shoulders. We can't not press overhead. Almost through. And time. Good job. Well done. So now we're going to use both weights and we're going to go into a hinge pattern where we can be either seated on the edge of our chair or hip bones on that chair, lifting our torso tall, bringing it forward, just like in our deadlift. We don't round the back, we keep it forward, where we're going to do a row and a rear fly. So keeping that head in line with our spine, not dropping down. We're going to squeeze those shoulder blades back, following through with our arms, lowering back down and out to the side like a T. We want to bring that torso as far forward as we're able. Again, we got our row, back down, out to the side like a T. And get that timer going. Let's keep up the good work. So we can be seated as such, or we can do it in that hinge position. We got our row, and out to the side like a T. We're rowing, and we're flying. Good. Keep up that good work. Rowing, and like a T. Almost through, and time. There's 1 second when I look at my clock. Awesome. So we're going to get our push-ups going now. So we want to find that space that's elevated. We have our kitchen counter, maybe our wall, maybe our couch, wherever we have access to a full range of motion push-ups. Remember, we have our hands in line with our shoulders. Our elbows are no wider than 45 degrees. That's to help protect our shoulders and to get the most out of our pecs and our triceps. So let's get into that position. Hopefully we had enough time to work our way over there. Then getting our hands again in line with our shoulders. We're lowering down and pressing away. Inhaling on the descent. Exhaling as we press up. Staying strong, we got this. Almost through. We can always hold a plank here if we're getting tired from our push-up. We can always stop if it's a little too much. Inhaling down, exhaling up. Awesome job. Sweet deal. So, let's pause, let's get some water, then we're going to repeat all of that upper body. So first up, we'll work that single leg stance. We have our foot up on the chair. And let's do left leg up, weight in the right hand, right leg down. Nice and tall. Getting in position. 3, 2, 1. Working that bicep. Slow and controlled. Pressing up. lowering down as we bend that elbow, shoulder down, lowering the hand all the way down. Great job. Keep it going. Finding that breath pattern. Again, we're exhaling on our descent. Not too forceful, because this is a combo exercise. We might run out of breath. Even, sustained inhale and exhale. Nice. We can finish this last rep. Coming back down all the way. Good job. So we're going to switch sides. Right foot is up, left hand, nice and tall. 3, 2, 1. Bicep curl, pressing up to the sky, lowering back down. Straighten that elbow. Really focus on that lowering portion, both as we go into our overhead press and as we straighten that elbow. Relax down. We're going to get our hinged row and rear fly going. And this is a good time to practice that hip hinge. So let's do that. We're going to bring our hips back, feeling again those hamstrings. And then you can bend your knees a little bit. And to protect the back, think about there's a belt around us. Maybe we are wearing a belt. Let's press into that belt. Not just in the front, but equally on our sides, and even the back. So here we go. We're going to bring those shoulder blades back, rowing those arms, lowering back down, and out to the side like a T. Just shoulder height, arms back, got that row, lowering down, out to the side like a T. Good. Breath, exhaling as we find gravity, inhaling as we let it down, exhaling again, fighting, inhaling back down. Not letting gravity win, we're controlling it down. Last little bit. Good job. So, we have another set of our push-ups. Well done. So, what we're going to do here is work on finding our height, that counter, that couch, that wall. Get our feet nice and wide, hands in line with our shoulders. We're going to get that push-up on. Let's get into position. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Controlling down, pressing up. And controlling down, pressing back up. It's crucial that we bear weight through our arms daily. Otherwise, we're going to lose that skeletal muscle mass. The body's very efficient. It says, if I'm not using something, why am I sending energy in that direction? And as we get older, we need that skeletal muscle mass even more. We need it at any age, but we need it even more so we keep bones nice and strong. Keep after it. Awesome job. We can get a sip of water, and then we're going to work towards our chair for some stretches. So let's start off with that deep squat. We're going to have our feet about shoulder width apart, and then our hands on that chair. We're going to drop our hips as low as we can. Stretching them back, stretching those hips, our ankles. We can rock from side to side. Breathing in and out. We can come up whenever we're ready. Let's try for about 10 more seconds. Keep it up. Awesome. Coming on up. Great job. Now, having a seat in our chair. I'll scoot a little closer. So we're in that chair. Let's get nice and tall, and we're turning to one side. We're going to think about inhaling high, rotating to the side, bringing our hand towards our opposite knee, and our other hand on the leg of that chair. We're not using our hands to twist. We're going to inhale a little bit taller, exhaling, twisting a little bit more, anchoring those hands back down. Releasing that anchor, inhaling taller, exhaling a little bit deeper. Good. Let's inhale, coming all the way back to center. Then exhaling, turning to the side. Inhaling, lifting high. Exhaling, rotating. Then unattaching our arms. Inhaling taller, exhaling, rotating a little bit more. Using those hands. One last time, inhaling high. Exhaling, rotating. Arms coming down. And returning to the center. Good job. Let's get our hips stretched a little bit more. We can get our ankle up, trying to get above the knee, maybe below. And we're going to start by hugging that knee in, stretching our outer hip and glute. Good. Relaxing, letting it drop. Gravity doing its job. And we're inhaling nice and tall. We're going to exhale over in the direction of that elevated knee. Good stuff. Inhaling, lifting back up, dropping our foot down, and we're switching sides. And inhaling tall, exhaling that knee, or towards that knee. We'll bring it in afterwards. Wanted to change it up a little bit here. Awesome. Inhaling, coming up, and then hugging that knee in on this side. Looks like we got our geese coming back. They'll make an appearance shortly. It's being a little more quiet, brought them back. They got used to me. Good, let's release that. Bringing our feet down. And then we're going to bring our hips to the edge of the chair, feet nice and wide. Inhaling, lifting tall. We're exhaling as far down as we can. Notice how I'm keeping my chest lifted, my head still up. My hands are start on my thighs, working towards my shins. And all the way down. Stretching that back. If we feel comfortable, we can drop the head. And let's work our way back up. Finding the back of our chair. And closing our eyes, hands can be on our thighs. Getting in touch with the sounds, maybe on this recording, and the letting thoughts come and go, just like a goose. Deepening our breath, bring awareness to our surroundings, to our toes and our fingers, and the rest of our body. Awesome. Working our way back to more awake. And as I'm looking past the computer, I see this squirrel. And I was reminded by a really good book called Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. I'm sure we see a lot of squirrels scurrying around right now. We think, man, what an active life. But if I recall, squirrels sleep about 13 to 15 hours a day as well. I'm going to double check and I'll let you know if that's right. But that just shows us how important rest is, how important this ending to our movement is. Thank you all for joining me. Next week is the respiration system, if I recall. So we're going to do a little more deep breathing to end our day. Let's take an inhale, lifting our arms up. Bringing them to our head for good thoughts, to our mouth for good words, and to our heart for good intentions. Thank you all for joining me. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste. Great job.